Hello everyone, my name is Tiffany and this is my channel, Who's Your Handmaid. Thank you so much for stopping by today. Today's video is a special one. We are doing a sewing room tour today. Now this is my current sewing space. If you are a follower of my channel, you might know that we are moving houses soon. We're building a new house and I will be setting up a new sewing space here pretty soon. But I thought it would be fun to take you guys on a tour of what my sewing room has looked like thus far. This is a shared space. It's about 11 by 12 room. I do have a queen size bed in here as well. We kind of used it as a guest room there for a while. We haven't had very many guests and I'll show you in a minute why. That bed has kind of become something of a storage area. So I have lovingly labeled this video the good, the bad, and the ugly. I have made do with this space. Some things I love from this organization. Some of it I don't love. Some of it I will be taking with me to my new sewing space and hopefully be creating new organizational solutions for things that just aren't working with me. So I'm hopefully not going to take too much time today to show you my room. I just want to kind of give you an overview. I am not here to show you the perfect sewing room. Do any of us even have the perfect sewing room? Even when I move into my new one, I'm sure there's things that could be done better, but this is our happy place. No matter if you are sewing at your kitchen table, if you have a whole building to yourself, or if you're in a shared space like mine, this is our happy place, right? We come here to do that wonderful hobby that we all love. We come here to create and sew and just be in our happy place. So I'm not going to be too hard on myself. This room has given me so much enjoyment over the few years that I've been in it. It is what it is and I'm going to share it with you guys. So if you're in a space that's not perfect in your mind, don't feel bad. Don't feel like you're missing out. The love of sewing is what is so important in these spaces, not how many organizational features you have or matching totes. It's all about getting into that space and creating with our love of sewing. Before we head into the tour, I just want to say welcome. If you are new here, thank you so much for stopping by. I hope that you will consider subscribing before you leave today. I would love to welcome you into the sewing community. And thank you so much to each one of my friends who are tuning in again today. Thank you for taking a little bit of your time to be with me today. It means so much to me. Give this video a thumbs up and leave a comment down below. What does your sewing space look like? Is it at the kitchen table? Do you have a room? Do you have a building? I would love to know what your sewing space is and tell me something that you love about your sewing room. I would love to chat with you guys down below in the comment section. Okay, without further ado, let's jump into this sewing room tour. This is the hallway leading into my sewing room. I'm doing a voiceover because Addie is asleep there to the left, so I wanted to show you the entrance here because I do have some fabric outside of my sewing room. I'm showing that shelf there to you right now. That is all woven fabrics. I've added that shelf from Amazon. On top of that was my remnants. And then I'm going to give you a peek inside to the sewing room. I'm going to give you a look at it fully before I go in and start talking about it. Okay, so I'm standing behind the door into my sewing room, and this is what you see when you come into the room. I'm going to do a pan as best as I can in this small space and show you what the whole space looks like here real quick. And then we'll talk about the sections as we go here. It is full. I have a lot in the sewing room. I'm going to turn around here and show you the door. This is the door into my sewing room. It's where we just entered through. I have a full-length mirror there for looking at my makes. And then we're just going to go around the room. So this wall has a lot of baskets down here at the bottom. That is a lot of yarn. There is yarn in all 3 of those, and then that first green bucket has ironing supplies like my ironing ham, my clapper, and such. So here's my ironing station. I have my iron, and then I have a little station there set up for ironing products like Best Press and water for the iron. And then in this container I have projects that I am working on. There are some projects already cut out in there. You can kind of see them in the drawers. And then there are some that need to be taped together, so they're just pages. That is my Tefal iron that I love. She's not very expensive, but she's a workhorse. So this is a quilt that a couple of you asked me about during my Q&A video. I'll link that down below if you missed that video, by the way. This quilt I started with a free pattern, and I'll put more info down below in the description box about what that quilt is. It's just a free pattern that I wanted to use Kona cottons with, so I'm in the middle of making it. I haven't worked on it in a while. I need to get that going. And I have my calendar, and then up above on a set of wire racks are some fabrics. This one is mostly knit fabric, but I see that I have a few wovens there intermixed. I tried to separate my wovens and my knits, and I just ran out of room. So mostly that is knit fabric. Coming around the room, that is a closet. It has nothing sewing wise in it. You can kind of see it's stacked up there. A lot of it is packed and ready to be moved. It's just a family closet with all kinds of stuff in it from our family. Moving on, let's get the table here. This table has been the most instrumental piece in my sewing game. Like this table has made me, and I absolutely adore it. It is a folding table. The wings fold down. It's from Joann's. I love this table. I use it all the time. It's a workspace. It's a cutting table. It's a design table. It's an everything table. So that's where I do everything on there. I'll talk about what's on the table in just a second, but below it is a few more totes. The Baby Lock case is the carrying case for my crescendo machine. I have 2 somewhat messy little totes there. One of them is scrap tracing paper, and the other is scrap interfacing. I have an extra little chair under there. That's from IKEA. I don't use it anymore. It's not really that comfortable, so I keep it around for Addie if she happens to slip into the sewing room and she wants a seat. So that's what that extra little chair is under there. It fits pretty good under there, and I can just hide it. On top of the table, this is a cutting mat from Joann's. Let me just tell you, it's not a self-healing cutting mat, so I wanted to show you guys. This is a split in the cutting mat, so I will be getting new cutting mats for my new sewing room. It's been good. It's been a good cutting mat, but it does not self-heal, so you end up with splits in the cutting mat like that from your rotary cutter. I have a project that I'm working on right there already cut out and taped together, so that's what that is. And then along the back of my sewing table, I just keep various containers of notions or things that I want at the ready. That is a basket of notebooks and patterns that I'm working on. I just finished that little McCall's dress recently. This is a cute little caddy that my husband bought me from Michael's. I keep pins in there, and I also keep my washers in there. Those are my pattern weights. A cute little bag my mom made me. This is just a little organizer. Actually, both of these are just little organizers for various notions. I have my stash and what are these called? Stash and store. I love these things so much. I love the mini ones. I stuff them full. Here is my pens, various little toddler toys. So that is my cutting table. What I don't love about this cutting table is having items on it. So I would love to have just a plain cutting table that has no notions or baskets or anything on it. So that's something that I'm going to be implementing here in my new sewing room. So I've crouched down now below the table and just going to show you back in here. But behind that whiteboard are some totes. They are the drawer totes. They have batting's up there on top, and then inside the totes are more fabrics, cotton fabrics that were gifted to me, and then there are some batting scraps in there as well. We have some fleece that you can see. So that is in 3 containers, drawer type containers that are underneath there, underneath my table. Moving on up the wall, we have these wire rack shelving that my husband built me. Very handy, but kind of limits what you can do. I've tried to stack and organize as best I can. So let's just go up one side and down the other. This is all quilting fabric. So this is my quilting fabric right here, my collections, my layer cakes, my jelly rolls, my yardage, everything that I would need for quilting projects or something like a quilting project is all in these little totes. And then as you get to the top, I have more quilting fabric, but I've also got some specialty fabric up there. You see some eyelet, some swim fabric, there's some canvas up there, so just my more specialty fabrics are up there. Moving over to the other side, I have some project cases. I love those project cases. I have another little bin that's for my English paper piecing, so another quilting project. And then as we come down the shelving, I have another drawer unit that has quilting magazines in it and a few quilting bundles I see there in the drawers. On this side, my mom has gifted me a few of her Fat Quarter Shop boxes. Those are their sew sampler boxes, so they have a quilting project in them. And then on top are these really cute cases. I think I've shown that case once before. Those come from Michael's. My husband gives me some every year for Christmas, so he has gifted those to me. There are snaps in that one, and then behind it is just an empty one that I use when I go to various places when I'm sewing, so camping or quilt retreats or anything like that. This next shelf is a lot of sewing notions. I love this cute little caddy. Mom got me that for Christmas one year. I have it stuffed full with all kinds of notions. There's bias tape in there, there's zippers, there's fold over elastic. I see some 505 and maybe an Olfa replacement blade. So I need to go through that, but it has a lot of great notions in it. I have a little bit of serger thread there on the edge there for easy access, and then I have a couple more totes. The pink one I use when I am going away to retreats or camping. I'll pack all of my supplies in that little tote. And then the tote in the back with the blue handle has elastic in it, and it's all cataloged by width so that I can easily find any width of elastic that I need. Coming down to the bottom shelf, it's kind of messy. We have our Wi-Fi router there for the house. That blue little trash can I love. I keep it close to my sewing machine. I love to be able to just throw my scraps in there or threads. I have my serger case in there in the back. I've made a little tote of serger thread and the manuals. That is for my brother's serger, which I'll show you in just a second. A couple more little totes there, and then I have this 3-tiered Pioneer Woman cake stand. It's really for like the holidays when you would have like cookies and treats and stuff on it, but I got it for Christmas and I decided to use it in here. So I keep all of my pins. I have pins and needles and safety pins, and I also have a few buttons in there, so it's real handy for those kind of things. Okay, moving on to the next section, we're getting to my machines. So I do have a very large window here. It's a really nice window. This is the only place that I had for my thread. Ideally, it would not be in a window. I know that the sun, it can be pretty harmful on threads. In my new sewing room, it won't be in a window. It'll be on the wall, hopefully out of direct sunlight, but for now, it's working. So this is my Baby Lock Crescendo machine. I love her. She is a workhorse. She works very well for me. She is a great machine. I was able to buy her about 2 years ago, and I love using her. This is a desk that my mom and I painted this green color. It was part of the furniture from her bedroom suite when she was a child, so she helped me paint that. I love the desk. I do not love it as a sewing machine table. You can see that the chair and the sewing machine needle are not lined up, so I have to sit kind of cockeyed. And it's definitely not ergonomically favorable for your back or anything like that. So this desk, while cute, probably will be used for something like a computer or something in my new sewing room. It will not be used for my sewing machine. Moving on, we're coming to my serger. That is my Baby Lock Acclaim. I just purchased that not too long ago. She sits candy cornered to my main sewing machine, and I love that. I do love being able to swivel between the two, so I can sew a seam and then serge it and finish the edges, which is really, really handy. They are that close just because I don't have any room for that serger anywhere else, but I do love them being that close together, so we'll see what we'll have to come up with in the new sewing room. There I have an aught light. I love to have a lot of light over me when I am sewing. And this is the back corner of my sewing room. So I have some IKEA pegboards, which I absolutely adore. I love those pegboards. I will be getting many, many more probably for the new sewing room. I'm just gonna put them everywhere because they're so handy. They have so many cool attachments and hooks and stuff. So just on the pegboards are an assortment of notions. I keep things over here in this corner that I don't really need to reach for every day, because you can see I've got the entrance blocked with the serger, so I have to move that serger every time I want to get back here. We also have my printer in this corner. I bought this little shelving unit from from Amazon. Very inexpensive. It was like 30 bucks, I think. I keep all my patterns over there in totes. I'm unsure what I'm going to do with my patterns in the new room, so for now this is working. I'm kind of busting at the seams though, so I need to get more room for sure. Down on the floor is just some various items that I didn't have room for. They are organized. I know it doesn't look like it, but they are kind of organized and I know what's down there. Now moving up the wall, we have more wire shelving that my husband put in for me. So we have knit fabric on this first shelf, only knits. Most of them are like winter weight knits. I've put them up there to get them out of the way and kind of keep them together so that I know those heavier weight knits are together. And then on the top shelf I have various things. There's a box of scraps there first. That's scraps from like quilt projects. I have some stabilizer, more yarn. I think those two totes in the middle are actually yarn, you guys. I've got way too much yarn. And then over in the side are some scrapbooks I've started from Addie's first few years. I wanted to keep some scrapbooks of her, so that's what's up there. And then as we come on around the room, I'm gonna show you what I am least proud of, you guys. I'm just gonna be honest and show it to you. So this is the queen size bed that is in the room, and as you can see, it's become just a dumping ground. It's everything that I don't have room for. So we have fabric, and more fabric. So much fabric. Yeah, I just don't have room for it on my shelf, so it gets stacked up there. There's knit fabric, there's woven fabric, there's precious fabric up against the wall that I know I'm not going to sew with for a while, so I stacked it back up in there. We have paper patterns. These are ones that I have printed off myself, or they are A0 printed from the Blue Cup shop on Etsy. I just don't have a great system for storing those right now, so that's a mess. I don't really like it. We'll have to think of something new for the new sewing room. And then there's just stuff. It's just accumulated over the few years, well, gonna be 3 actually, when Addie turns 3, that I've moved into this room. So there's a box of serger accessories, there's random fabrics. There's a sheet that I want to make into a shirt for Josh. There's items back in there that I used for my craft fair, the craft fair that I did with my sister last fall. So just not something I'm proud of, but it is what it is. So I have some solutions in place for the new sewing room, especially for the fabric, and we will get more solutions as we go along. Just a work in progress. Coming down here to look in front of the bed, that is my brother 1034D serger. I really loved using this serger machine, but she does not have air threading, and so that's why I upgraded to my Acclaim. I am going to keep her and I am going to use her. I just don't have a great way of hooking her up to power right now. So see, she's kind of far from the other serger. So in the new sewing room, they'll be sitting side by side in my mind. So so hopefully I'll be using them both. I'll be keeping separate different colored threads on them both so I can use them. Coming down here alongside the bed are some clear plastic totes. I'm going to try to put some fabrics in at least one of these that I can take with me into the camper if I need to live in the camper before I get into my house, which it's kind of looking like I do. So I want to weed out some fabrics that I might want to use in the interim. Also, here is Bernadette. She is my dress form that I got just recently. I bought her at a yard sale for $10. She is wearing a Love Notions Rhapsody blouse that I just washed, and I needed to iron it so it's all ironed and fresh. So this is the last wall in my sewing room that we'll look at. We're coming back around to the door. You can see it there. So starting down here at the bottom, there's those plastic totes I was just showing you. On the top are some coloring books. Those are for Addie. This is her little coloring station. It's just the right height for her so she can sit there and color, or stand there and color actually, while mommy is sewing. I have a little end table there. It was supposed to be, you know, for the guests beside the guest bed, but alas, it is kind of boxed in and being utilized otherwise. And that right there, my friends, is a mountain of scraps. Scraps. So I'm gonna have to go through that and weed out what I want to keep or keep it all. I'm not real sure. Most of it, there's a reason I've kept it. They're big enough pieces to do something with, so I'll probably be keeping most of it. There is some copy paper. I think there's more yarn in that bag. Don't tell my husband. And then this table right here, my husband just bought me for last Christmas. It is another winged table. This one comes from Michael's, and it has really handy shelving there in the middle. So I've got a lot of patterns in there. Those are some patterns that I've been either sewing or have my eyeball on to make again. And on the bottom shelf, I have my recording equipment. So there's 2 or 3 stands in there, tripods and stands. I also have my Willowdale bra set back in there, so I need to pull that out and work on that bra. Just a trash can. And then as we come up here to look at the top of the table, I do have a Olfa cutting mat up there. Those green cutting mats are self-healing, so I've had that one for a really long time, and it's really in great shape. It doesn't show any of the cuts or anything like this white one does over here beside me. It's just not big enough. That's the fact. It's not big enough to cut out what I want to be cutting out. On my desk are a lot of stuff. So I tried to get organized with this filing kind of case, and it just got really full. There's some patterns that need to be cataloged and put away. I have my sewing journals back there in the back. You might recognize those. I talk about them all the time. I have cards from my family that are important to me there. Ideally, they'll be up on a wall or something when I get my new sewing room. I have some pens and a nice little cup, Lori Holt cup, I think actually, that my mom got me. Just various notebooks and things that I would grab for on this table. Again, I do not like this much clutter on a table. Ideally, I will have some organizational solution for most of this in the new sewing room. So looking up the wall, here is where I store all of my rulers. These are Creative Grids rulers for the most part. I like theirs the best. I can see through them. I have various sizes. They're up on the wall. They're being held by these little hooks from Harbor Freight. They work really well. They hook into the hole that's already in the ruler. They kind of get in the way here, so I don't want them hanging like this in the new sewing room. I don't mind that they're hanging. I just need a solution where they're not kind of at my head and can fall and hit myself. So that will be different in the new house. I do have a little IKEA pegboard here. Love it. I'm using it to the max. As you can see, I have all kinds of trays and hooks and stuff. This is my most used stuff. So my rotary cutters, my scissors, there's some tweezers in there for my serger, just all kinds of various little notions that I reach for a lot during projects. I have another little blue trash can. Those are so handy. The Fat Quarter Shop sells those. If I remember, I'll try to link it down below, but I love those little trash cans. I try to keep them handy and close to me. Okay, moving up the wall, we have more wire rack shelving. This is the last unit of rack shelving that I have in my sewing room. So looking on the first shelf there are a lot of just notions that I need to go through. Wool pressing mats that are more useful for like quilting with your smaller quilt blocks. I have my stash swatch book up there that I created. I will link down below to that video if I can remember. I'll walk you through how I put that together. Also, my binders there in kind of a haphazard manner. Those are all of my traced off patterns. I do trace all of my patterns, even Addie's for the most part. So I have all of those in those binders. Sometimes by pattern company, sometimes just PDF patterns, etc. I obviously want those in a more organized manner in the new sewing room. I want them more handy, not overhead, so hopefully I can find some great solution for that. And then there on the end, tracing paper, a button case, and that is Josh's quilt project, a secret quilt project that I need to be working on. That is his Christmas present quilt project, so hopefully I can get busy on that. Moving up to the top shelf, we have more storage things. I see more yarn. Oh my goodness, I see more yarn. Yikes. So I have yarn. Up there next to the yarn is interfacing. I try to stock up on it when it's on sale at Joann's. The red case is for works in progress. I think it's like quilty projects. That one there on top, I think I need to quilt yet, but moving on, that is my English paper piecing 30s fabric. I wanted to make an entire English paper piece to quilt out of 30s fabric, and that's what I've accumulated. Just more project bins. I know both of those have some projects in them. Another Fat Quarter Shop sew sampler box that mom has given me. And then below that is a quilt kit that I need to work on. And then there at the end are my sewing books. So that is what's on that shelving right there. And that is it for the sewing room tour. We are back to where we began. And that is a sewing room tour. I hope you enjoyed this video. I had a lot of fun making it. I'm gonna have a lot of fun setting up my new sewing room. So if this is interesting to you and you have not subscribed to my channel, please do so. Follow along on this journey. I hope to record a lot about setting up my new room, and I would love any suggestions from you guys. What is something that you love in your sewing room? Give me some suggestions. I would love hearing from you. That's gonna do it for me today. I will see you all in the next video. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.